Good afternoon everybody and welcome to our sunset safari on this scorching Sunday, which is all a lot of S's in one sentence. As you can see, the sun is baking down on Djuma Game Reserve and it is a very warm day. It's about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so a hot one indeed. Now my name is Tristan and on camera today I've got Sebastian and we are coming to you live, like I say, from the northeast corner of South Africa in the Sabi Game Reserve, and this is, as I say, an interactive live program. So if you have any questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or on the YouTube chat if you want to get hold of us. Right, the plans for this afternoon, well, I think is to try and just find some shady areas and check around there. I want to slowly head towards Buffelshoek Dam, see if my elephants from this morning are maybe frolicking about in the water and using it to cool off in this hot weather. So that's where we're going to try and head to start off with, and then hopefully once we've had a bit of time with them, if they are there, then we'll try and look again for those cheetah that were coming towards Cheetah cut line this morning. So that's kind of going to be the plan, and then later on towards Chitwa Dam, check the Gymnogene nest that I said I would go look at this morning before I got sidetracked. And, well, then hopefully a little spotted cat turns up at the end around Twin Dams Mulawati. So that's our general layout of our plan. Of course, we know things change, and given that I have serious squirrel syndrome and can't keep my attention span for very long, who knows where I'll end up, but that's at least what I'm trying and hoping for this afternoon. Hopefully it will be a busy afternoon. It was a fairly quiet, relaxed morning, although it was an enjoyable morning. Seb and I both had a thoroughly good time, actually. It was a lot more easy paced and there was a lot of different things, and we hadn't seen giraffe and eddies for, well, since I've been back, so I was quite enjoying spending time with both of those animals. And hopefully this afternoon we will have one of our cats out and about again. The Angama Pride, I don't think we're going to see them probably until 2-3 days time if they've gone into the Kruger National Park. That is a very long way away from where we are now, so I doubt we're going to see much of them for the next couple of days. With regards to Asana, who knows, nobody picked up any signs of him apparently, so maybe he's still around Twin Dams. Not sure if anyone even drove there this morning, so we'll check there a little bit later when it's cooler and hopefully there'll be something lurking. In heat like this, it's going to be very surprising if any of our cats are moving around for the first hour and a half. I think it's going to be far too warm for any of them to actually be out and moving. I know if I was a cat, I think I would be in some shade somewhere, maybe on top of a termite mound with a big tree above it, so as I can get not only shade but a bit of a breeze, because there is a slight breeze blowing. It's not a nice cool breeze, but it is a breeze nonetheless. Now we should have the Mara joining us. I believe Steph and Scott are out that side, but there is a few little glitches, so for now it's just me. So hopefully they'll be on board just now. So I do apologize about their technical little gremlins at the moment. I'm sure it will come right shortly, and it'd be nice to see Steph on drive. I don't think he's been on drive for quite some time, so I'm sure he'll be happy to be out and about and seeing the plains of East Africa again. He's been confined to the studio for quite some time. Okay, you want to know, with all these trees that I'm slowly meandering past that look dead, dry and broken, will they go green in the near future? Yes, they will. So all of these trees are not dead, they're all very much alive. It's just that there is absolutely no moisture in the ground for them to be able to have leaves on them, so they all lose their leaves in the winter months and then promptly will regrow them very quickly, and you'll be incredibly surprised at how fast this happens. The first proper rains we get, if we get a good decent rain, maybe I would say more than 20 millimeters of rain, so what's that in inches? It's like an inch and a half, 2 inches of rain, you'll find that this whole landscape will change completely. All of these trees will start to get these little green leaflets on them, and within, I would say, a week, it's completely green, the whole thing, the grass, everything. So it's going to change rapidly once we get that rain, particularly with temperatures like this. This is great temperatures for the growth of vegetation, but they need water for that to happen, and at the moment there is no sign of any rain. There's not a cloud in the sky. It seems as though, unfortunately, it's all sitting over the Atlantic Ocean in the southern side of the United States. So for all of you that are in Florida, if you are watching, I hope you're staying safe and that you're all okay that side as the hurricanes start to move that way. It really is a scary prospect when you look at the size of it and the fact that there's another one following it, which is not so pleasant. So hopefully you all stay safe, for any of you that are in that side of the world. But we get the similar, not as catastrophic at those and as big as those, but we do get a similar effect here. And our summer rainfall is actually a result of tropical storms. We call them tropical storms down here, not hurricanes, and they come off the Mozambique Channel, so we're just too far inland for it really to survive very well. Seb, can I ask you just to put the camera on that big ball on the tree there? I'm trying to see what that actually is. I wonder if it's not a potter wasp nest. So potter wasps build these clay type of nests in a tree sometimes, or on sort of hangs in branches. Difficult to see, but it looks like a potter wasp nest. So the reason they're called potter wasps is because they go and collect mud and then they build this clay-like structure on branches. So that's what it seems to be. I might be wrong. There's just so much glare and it's quite far away at the moment that it's difficult to actually make out what substance it is. It could also be as a result of some sort of insect that's fed off the branch, and it causes the tree to send a growth hormone that expands it, and you get what's known as a wood rose on a tree. It could also be that, but it's very difficult to make out exactly what it is. Maybe with binoculars will actually be better. I'm not quite sure what it's actually made out of. It doesn't look like a growth of the tree itself, and it doesn't look like mud either. It almost looks grassy in its texture in places. I'm not sure actually. It's a bit too high to actually climb up there and have a look properly, but it's some sort of, I would say, nest or something like that. It's not a potter wasp though. Potter wasp, you would see it would be a very clay-like structure, and that's a little bit more fibrous. So interesting. I'll have to try and watch that and see what happens with it and whether or not it grows. One of those mysteries of the bush. Like I say, it's just a little bit too high to actually be able to go and feel what the consistency is, because it actually might be quite spongy, in which case it would almost resemble a massive Uthika from a praying mantis. But you shouldn't see Uthikas at this time of the year. It's a little bit early for them. We generally see the Uthika, which is the egg casing from a mantid. They normally in the early summer, early to midsummer that we see those. Now I also came down this way just to check if there's any sign of Shadow and her cub, but alas, no tracks that I've picked up yet, and we're nearing the end of the new road. But earlier I was talking about Steph, and well, he's up and running, and I believe he's already got into some luck with some lions.
Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to the Maasai Mara, specifically the Mara Triangle. And I am Stefan Tabur, and I'm going to be doing this afternoon's drive for everybody, which is unusual. I don't think I can remember the last time I was on a safari or a PM safari with all of you, and I'm looking forward to it greatly. On the camera today we've got David, and you wouldn't believe it if I just told you, but right here in front of us we've just had the whole Angama Pride, all of it, cubs, all the moms, everyone walking across this grassy plain towards us, and 2 black rhino, and they've disappeared 2 minutes ago. And so that's our plan for this afternoon. We're going to see if we can haul out the Angamas from the thicket that you're looking at over there, and see if we can show them to you later on this afternoon. It's been a mighty frustration. We'll see if we can bring the black rhino to you as well. There in the distance, there you can just see far away on the skyline. Let's see, probably a bit more left. There we go, somewhere there. Yeah, there we go. There's a black rhino. There, we got it. Oh, that's good. So that's a mom and a calf, a very old calf. Well, by very old I mean probably less than 5, probably older than 3. And there's every hope that that female is pregnant at the moment. Wouldn't it just be lovely? So in the Mara Triangle here, there are about 12 black rhinoceros. And black rhinoceros are some of the rarest large mammals left in Africa. And there's a very healthy population of them here, and we're incredibly lucky to see even a brief glimpse like we are at the moment, even at so far a distance. It is very, very lucky and very rare to see black rhino in the wild, in Africa, and unescorted. The reserve here has such good conservation policies and practices that these rhino are left to fend for themselves, although they are looked after from afar by a gentleman called Brian Heath, who's the warden of the Mara Triangle, and his team of conservationists who take their job of looking after these rhino very, very seriously. And it's shown itself to be absolutely successful. Let's see how far away it is now. That massive mountain that you have on the left hand side there is part of an escarpment called the Ululolo Escarpment, which is a feature in the Rift Valley, the African Rift Valley, which is basically just one big fault that is busy splitting a chunk of land away from the African mainland. A couple of 100 million years from now, you'll be able to buy beachfront property right where we are right now. And the animals that you're busy having a look at on these plains are just very numerous and lovely at this time of the year. This is sort of in the aftermath of the migration. And what you're looking at now is a topi, and in the far distance there are zebra, and they enjoy the short grass that is on these plains, these alluvial plains. Now, another thing that enjoys short grass are another one of Africa's fast mammals, and my friend Scott is on the other side of the Mara River sitting with some of them right now.
Can you believe how lucky we've got? We've managed to find the musketeer coalition of 5 male cheetah again. They've literally just woken up, they are looking hungry, and they are surrounded by wildebeest. There are many, many wildebeest cashing in on these short, open green plains, and these cheetah, I'm fairly certain, are going to try and catch one at some point this evening. Great stuff, and also great that you got to see a black rhino with Steph. The safari has got off to a wonderful start, it sounds like. My name's Scott Dyson. I'm teamed up with Manu on camera, and we are looking forward to taking you on an adventure with these 5 male cheetah. Now, let me just turn around, and as I turn around, you'll notice there are wildebeest dotted all over these short, open green grass plains. We're going to get you some great 2 shots of the cheetah and the wildebeest now. So action is imminent. There we go. It looks like the boys are just going to spend some time doing some scent marking. And we're very, very lucky that since Safari Live arrived here in the Mara, these boys have been spending a lot more time in this area that we traverse. We're in the Maasai Mara National Reserve, and they only came into this general area in December last year, and they ordinarily would spend more time. There's some more scent marking. They would ordinarily spend more time in the surrounding community conservancies to the north and east of the park. But now, as you can see, they are laying claim to this area as their territory. There you'll see all the wildebeest in the background. Oh, awesome stuff. Each time I spend with these 5 cheetah, I fall more and more in love with them. They're an incredible bunch, and they are just the coolest animals to follow, especially when they are looking for a meal. What an incredible scene. Interestingly, this area was a yellowy golden brown about a week or so ago, and there's been a lot of rain in this area, and an abnormal amount for this time. Grassy plains. You can see hundreds and thousands of wildebeest scattered off in the distance.
Well, unfortunately, Scott's got a few gremlins still attached to his car, so I'm sure they will sort those out and we'll be able to get back to the cheetah. But it seems as though the boys in the Mara are having a wonderful afternoon already. Lots of things happening that side, which is fantastic news. Just thought I spotted a track here, and I did spot a track here, but now is it a hyena or is it a spotted leopard track? It looks leopardy, doesn't it, Seb? Doesn't that look leopardy to you? Yes, it is a leopard track. So it looks like a male leopard track. I don't know if it's that fresh. Maybe it's a track from when Tingana has been patrolling around. It looks like his footprint that we've got here. So it's this track over there. And you can see that it's quite an interesting one because it's got a sort of 3 lobes at the back, and it's the typical very triangular leopard back pad, but the one toe is a little bit squished up. Here it's back to normal there, but this toe is slightly closer together than normal. It's almost giving a little bit of a hyena shaped toe, and then the 2 left toes are the normal shape. So it is a leopard track, but it is not a very fresh leopard track. This looks like it was done maybe 2 days ago, or yesterday, so not a track that we're going to follow. There's definitely nothing on top of my vehicle tracks from yesterday afternoon when I drove here, so it's just interesting that I didn't pick them up yesterday. I wonder, maybe I wasn't concentrating too well at this when I drove this side yesterday. It was already quite dark and I was using my spotlight, but interesting that there is a track for a leopard in this area. I wonder, it doesn't look big enough to really be for Tingana. Maybe Hosana was somewhere here at some stage. Interesting. Well, we'll just drive around and have a little look and make 100% sure, and just double check in case. But there's nothing on top of the vehicle tracks from last night. I go over those tracks yesterday already, so not very fresh, unfortunately. Just saying to Sept though, I doubt we're going to see too much out in the open at this stage. It's warm in the sun, so most of the animals, I would imagine, would be seeking some sort of refuge and some sort of shade and water. So we're going to try and hang around closer to water sources as well as the Mulawati and the drainage sections, because those will at least provide a bit of shade for a lot of the animals, and they'll be able to then stay a little bit cooler. But our hippo friends from yesterday is quite interesting. We've seen their tracks all over. So the one hippo went out of Treehouse northwards, up Philemon's, north to Quarantine, then from Quarantine past Inga's, and looks as though it went towards Gari Dam. No, don't fly away. Well, there was a magpie shrike that decided just to fly away, but it was sitting so nicely on top of one of the trees. Had that long streaming tail. You can just see it there in the background now, but it's got such an impressive tail, this particular one. It's much longer than I've seen on a lot of the others. Really big. I mean, that tail must be twice to almost 3 times the length of its body, which is crazy. They're looking very nice, and I always love them in the afternoons when there's a bit of a wind blowing and their tail kind of bows out underneath the magpie shrike. It is really very pretty. There will be more of them here though. You'll never find just one magpie shrike by themselves. They generally are quite a sociable bunch. They tend to hang around together. In fact, I can hear another one just on our northern side, and so they kind of flock together, and then they'll go from tree to tree and hunt varying insects. They typical of the shrike family, that they are quite ferocious insect predators, and they've got that little hooked beak, much like you would see on any of your predatory birds, and they'll swoop down from there and grab varying insects. And these guys, I'm sure, are eagerly awaiting the rains as well, because then it's just an absolute buffet of food items when the rains come. And the magpie name comes from the coloration. That black and white is where they get the magpie name from. They used to actually be called a long-tailed shrike, which you can see why they would have been called that. Nice. I think we should do a bit of birding today, Seb. What do you think? We can't let you get too rusty after Byron got you going on birds. I think we should do a little bit of birding as well. I feel like doing some birds today. I'm sure there's some interesting birds around, and I'm still very surprised we haven't seen any signs of Wahlberg's eagles. It's starting to get quite late now. Normally we see them end of August, beginning of September. We're already on the 10th of September, sorry, and that's by now we should have at least seen maybe 1 or 2. So I'm quite surprised we haven't seen any yet. I wonder what's keeping them slightly north of us. Maybe there's some sort of delay with certain bird species, because the Wahlberg's eagles actually follow the quellias quite a bit, and they'll hunt the quellias excessively. Abel, you're asking if the magpie shrikes like shiny objects. Well, no, they're not like magpies. That's a different type of bird. A magpie is a bird that occurs in the United Kingdom, and I think a little bit into Europe. I might be mistaken, but they are very fond of shiny objects. Here in South Africa, this shrike is not the same thing, and it doesn't actually go after shiny objects very much at all. You don't find them near cities. They generally are now in these bush felt areas in the wild sections, very seldom seen in a city environment, so they don't really go after shiny objects. What does go after shiny objects here are the crows, so you will find crows picking up shiny objects, and hummerkorps, so that's a water bird that we get here. They are often notorious to have all kinds of different things in their nests. And what we do have is a few waterbuck, which will make James very happy. I wonder how James is doing on his first afternoon on leave. Hopefully he's having a wonderful time. But there the waterbuck are just in front of us. We are slowly approaching towards Treehouse Dam, so very kind of expectant to see them here. They've been hanging around here quite a bit. You've got a couple young males and some females. I haven't seen any big males around this particular grouping. It's not to say there isn't any, but I just haven't seen them. But you can see that's the female there, lacking the horns. And they're an easy animal to identify. They've got this long shaggy coat, which is very unusual. It's very different to a lot of our other antelope species out here that are quite fine-haired. These guys are all very thick-furred coats, and you can see that they've got that little heart-shaped nose, the white chin strap, and then if they turn and face us, a very white bottom. But it's interesting is they're all staring straight to our left-hand side. They're not alarm calling, but there's something that's grabbed their attention. So they're not looking at us. They're all staring deep into this drainage line. So I might just take a little drive down there and have a look. It is a perfect shady spot for a lurking leopard, and this is where we last saw Shadow. This is exactly where we lost her the other day, so maybe she's still hanging around here. It would be worth just having a little look. You never know, although they don't seem too perturbed by whatever it is. They're just kind of staring in that direction. Maybe there's a small antelope also walking around that's making a bit of a rustling in the grass that they're watching. But there you can see that perfect heart-shaped nose of the waterbuck quite clearly. I've got to feel sorry for these guys at this time of the year. In the winter they must be lovely to have a nice thick coat like this, but in summer it surely can't be very pleasant at all. Now of course that coat is not because they are cold, it's more to do with the fact that they're trying to repel water, so they secrete an oil through sebaceous glands on the skin, which coats that fur and it repels water and keeps them nice and dry when they try and use water to evade predators. So it's a clever system that they've got going, and that's why they have the slightly longer fur, because the more fur, the more chance they can of staying dry. Right, we're going to go and investigate quickly, and while we do that, let's go back to Steph, who's got the largest of the large in the Mara.
Welcome back to the Mara, and this is definitely the land of far vistas. As you can see from there, those dots that you're seeing there are elephant. A herd of elephant, in fact, spread out over quite a distance. And have a look at what's in the center of your screen there. That is a huge male lion that is just watching the elephants go by, and is the target that we're aiming for right now. We've skirted around the edge of the thicket that the Angama pride decided that they'd walk into, and they haven't come out the other side, but what is lying on the side is a big male lion. And there you can see how far away we actually are from these male lions. We decided that we'd stop in this fantastic herd, mixed herd of grazers. We've got zebra and an eland. Just have a look how fat and beautiful she is. One of the most gorgeous of all the antelope out here. Oh, beautifully long horns, this particular one. And then those zebra, just adding that black and white contrast to pictures out here. You know, we forget how pretty these animals are in these environments, you know. Both of them are grazers. And as we pan off to the left, you'll notice that there's a swamp that comes up into the distance there, and that is exactly why all these animals are here. It is because that swamp is providing the means for a much better nutritious grass. And so there you've got some taupe and some zebra, and then in the center of the swamp we have an elephant, an ostrich, and a buffalo for you. Is it a buffalo or a hippo? Let me just have a look. Let me have a look with my binoculars. It's a hippo, not a buffalo. So elephant, zebra, and hippo in the same thing. Now, what we're going to be doing is sending you to the other side of the Mara River, where my friend Scott is busy with those cheetah, who look like they're getting busy.
Well done to Steph for finding you those lion and elephant and something else, I'm told, dotted in between. These boys are certainly looking active, hungry, and quite intent on finding their next meal. But at the moment, as you can see, they are just rolling about. So I guess it can be equated to us waking up in the morning. It takes a little bit of time to get into full swing of things. But they certainly are up and about. There are certainly lots of wildebeest around, 3 of which actually walked right up to the cheetah. The ones to the right there, Manu, where they were scent marking a bit earlier. Those 3 came up just to keep an eye on the cheetah, and it's always interesting when you see prey species coming straight towards their predators once they have detected them. But these cheetah have got lots of options, so it would be foolish for them to rush in. They're going to take their time, I'm guessing, to find a youngster that was probably born. Most of the young wildebeest were born earlier this year in the southern Serengeti plains, and that has been their favorite meal that we've noticed thus far. But having said that, they can also take down larger wildebeest, so they're a highly formidable team. And I would be very surprised that if by the time the sun sets, they have not actually succeeded in hunting something or are getting more and more into the swing of things. So we've got a great evening lined up. Isn't this wonderful? All those white flowers, a wildebeest skull, and some wildebeest. So lots of options, and these cheetah are just going to be scanning, looking for any weaknesses, any easy opportunities. What I was going to say is that they also do hunts after dark, and we are fully equipped to be able to follow them into the darkness with an infrared camera, where we can capture what goes on without interfering. So I am thoroughly looking forward to seeing what these guys get up to this afternoon. And as you can see, this is just the perfect runway for which they can unleash their speed. They make the wildebeest look like they are standing still, I've noticed, especially in open environments like this where they've got no obstacles to cater for. Now, it's always tricky deciding where to position oneself in order to be in the best possible spot. But I think we do need to keep moving. We don't want to be left in a cloud of dust. Hello, book lover. You'd like to know if these cheetah are any bigger than the cheetah that we would be seeing, or you would be seeing down on Djuma at Cheetah Plain specifically. And no, not that I would imagine. I would guess they're fairly similar sizes, but then again, I have never weighed a cheetah myself or been present with one getting weighed. Asante sana. I nearly crashed into that guy earlier, so he said, no, you go first, get out of the way. I nearly reversed into him. So, book club, no, I don't think so, but then again, I don't know of any cheetahs being weighed here in the Mara and or the Sabi Sand, so I wouldn't be able to make an accurate assessment on that question, but I'm guessing they are fairly similar sizes, with obviously exceptions to one individual that may be bigger, and the same will be for the lion. I think the lion maybe on average here are slightly bigger, but you will get some big lions down on Djuma as well. Okay, what I like to try and do is get on the opposite side of the herds to give you a kind of a herd perspective, so let's do that. And Chantal, maybe we can invite other people on board if you would like on other platforms, because this could
Well, unfortunately, once again, the gremlins are plaguing Scott, and you can see we are busy watching Sebastian as he's finishing his time lapse at Treehouse Dam and is slowly but surely coming back. There we go, a little wave from Sebastian, who's supporting the Maasai Mara team with his Mara t-shirt. The Just wait for Seb to get back on the vehicle. But no signs of anything around Treehouse Dam. We checked where those waterbuck were looking. There was a brief little alarm call, but nothing that we can see, and they slowly then started to walk in the direction that they were steering. So nothing to be alarmed about. So now we're going to head up towards Buffelshoek Dam and go and see what's happening with those elephants. That's the plan, at least anyway. We'll from there, like I say, check around for the Cheetah brothers and then down towards Chitwa. But at least it's starting already now to just slowly but surely, the temperature is easing off a little bit. We're just starting to lose a bit of that bite that's been in the air during the middle part of the day, so it's at least starting to cool down slightly. It really is amazing how quickly the temperature changes in this part of the world. Nina, you want to know how we know the difference between a leopard and a cheetah track, and how do we know if they're male or female? Right, well, Nina, I would love to show you, but I left my tracking book at home because I was actually busy looking at some stuff today, so I do apologize, but I'll try and explain it as best I can. Basically, with a leopard and a cheetah, the difference between the two of those, the most obvious difference that you will see is that the cheetah track will be very, very narrow. So you're going to have a very narrow, very long track on a cheetah, whereas on a leopard it's almost going to be like a circle. So you can think of a cheetah more as an oval and a leopard more as a circle kind of track. Also with the leopard, the back part of the pad is very wide, whereas a cheetah track, the back part is very, very small. They both will have 3 lobes, but the other bigger one that is different is that the cheetah displays claws when it's in its track, whereas leopards don't. Remember, leopard's claws are sheathed, so their claws don't show up in a track, whereas a cheetah's claws will show up. So that's the difference between those two. The other side of, in terms of male and female, is a size difference a lot of the time. So with male leopards, a male leopard track is really quite a lot bigger than a female's. If you're talking about a male leopard cub, if you look on the back of the lobes, particularly on the front foot, you'll find that as they do the 3 lobes and that sort of W shape on the back, if you had to take a line and you drew and you followed the contour of that lobe, it should make a full circle on the male track. The females tend to have an angular point on the edge of their back pad, and whereas the males is a rounded point. So that's how you can tell male and female from a leopard point of view. In cheetah, a little bit more difficult. It's just more the size than anything else. The male cheetah track will be bigger than the female cheetah track. Like I say, I'm sad that I don't have my tracking book. I was busy looking at some tracks and notes that I had made when I was doing my tracking training back in the day, and I was just going through some of those just to refresh a little bit, and I'm a bit sad that I didn't bring it, because it would have been quite nice to actually show you the difference in a book, but I'll have to try and bring it on another drive. So let me know when you're watching again, and I'll make sure that I pack it in for that drive and I can show you a little bit better. What do you think, Seb? Are elephants going to be there? Christine, you said, am I looking for the Cheetah brothers? And did you hear that right? No, Christine, I'm not looking for the Cheetah brothers. I am looking for a cheetah mother and 3 cubs. That's what I am going to be searching for. She was seen yesterday on Torchwood, and her tracks were coming towards Cheetah cut line. Yesterday afternoon there was also a young male cheetah that was in the vicinity as well, that we don't know who he is. So it's one of those, well, any of those bunch that could potentially pop out on Cheetah cut line. So it's not the 2 big boys, but rather a female and cubs that have been hanging around. They get seen every now and then in Buffelshoek and Torchwood, but they haven't come to Djuma. Maybe today is the day that they come to Djuma with the lions, the Angama pride walking around on that eastern boundary with Kruger. Maybe that's going to push this cheetah into Djuma a little bit, and we'll get lucky this afternoon. That's the idea. Yeah, anyway, whether or not it actually comes to fruition is anyone's guess. A little bit of luck and a bit of positive vibes, and you never know what can come out of that. But it's interesting, just driving along these shaded areas, normally we see a few nyala and a few impalas drifting around, but today it seems as though there's nothing. I don't know if everything has maybe gone towards the Mulawati, where there's a little bit more shade than even these smaller drainage lines, but I'm quite surprised. You normally see the odd Daika or Steenbok or Impala or Nyala drifting along, but it's been very quiet with any of those animals so far. Even birds-wise, it's a little bit on the quiet side, but I'm sure it will get better as it cools down a little bit. I wonder when we're going to see the marulas also getting leaves. It should be fairly shortly. The marulas are all bare and barren at the moment, and it won't be too long now and they will start getting some leaves of their own. And then it really is beautiful when you get these thick canopies of the marulas all across the landscape. It really is very pleasant. Right, now I believe Scott has got his gremlins sorted. He's got the cheetahs. They are hunting, so let's quickly jump across to him.
A whole bunch of wildebeest, and there's actually 2 more cheetah as well. So we've got some incredible prospects, a coalition of 5 male cheetah that are looking hungry. And even though one just flopped itself down, and the next, and the next, don't be fooled, because they are slowly going to work their way through these never-ending herds of wildebeest in the hope that they find one that looks to be like a bit of a easier target. So I'm very, very confident that at some stage within the next couple of hours, these cheetah are going to show us what they do best, and that is hunt down wildebeest. We have shared with some of you before live kills. Just a few days ago, they took down a wildebeest live with a lot of you watching. And for those of you who may be joining for the first time, it's great to have you on safari with us. It's an interactive safari. Please do pop your questions in the comment boxes and your thoughts and your feelings, as it would be wonderful to chat with you. My name is Scott Dyson. I am teamed up with Manu on camera, and we literally found these cheetah about half an hour ago. They got up immediately and have started moving. So they're moving a bit earlier than they ordinarily would, that in terms of the kind of history that I've spent with them, which indicates that they are quite hungry. Again, there's lots of wildebeest around, so there's no need for them to rush into anything. They're going to ease into the afternoon. Teresa, you've just mentioned what a standoff, and it is, or at least it was, an incredible scene as you joined us with those cheetah heading straight towards the wildebeest. It is a beautiful, beautiful still afternoon here in the Maasai Mara, and this area has got a lot of rain recently, which is going to make the wildebeest happy. You can see lots of fresh green grass shoots popping up. And about 2 weeks ago, this was a golden brown hue. Another thing to bear in mind is it's not just a favorable environment for the wildebeest at the moment, but these short open plains are going to allow these 5 cheetah to unleash their furious speed as and when they need to. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. I haven't been here for a while, so it's good to see that there still are lots of the migrating herds in this area of the reserve. They move quite a big distance, the migrating herds, over the short time. Rob, you would like to know why these cheetah have not taken an opportunity, considering how close the wildebeest were to them. And it's foolish for predators to rush in, waste energy, get injured until they find the right opportunity. And they do know at the back of their minds that it is the migration season. There's lots and lots of opportunities. This will change in the coming weeks, but for now there's just so much food around, it would be foolish to go in and work too hard for something, essentially. So they're going to bide their time, wait until they see an easy option, a youngster that they can separate from the herd. Even though it's not very common. Oh, there's some little Thompson's gazelle. They're a bit too quick and small for those 5 boys to share. Great prey for a female cheetah, but these guys, I'm fairly certain, are going to overlook that opportunity. Now, something also to remember, Rob, is that it's not that easy for them to kill wildebeest without the other wildebeest actually turning on them. We got some incredible footage late one evening as dusk was breaking and the drizzle was falling, of one of these cheetah getting completely bowled off a young wildebeest that they'd managed to bring down. So an older wildebeest came in and absolutely thumped it out the way. So all these things they'll be factoring into their hunting equation. And as you can see, they are just spoilt for choice at the moment. What a classic scene this is. Now, because we had no idea what was going to happen as these cheetah were approaching that herd, we thought we couldn't let up the opportunity to invite you guys on board. So we will be sure to invite you back as and when these 5 get up and going. I'm certain in the next few hours they are going to show us how they hunt. So if it's something you'd like to see, try and clear up some space in your schedule, because like I say, it's just a matter of time until these guys try and catch themselves a wildebeest, and 9 times out of 10 when they try, they succeed. For now though, we are going to say goodbye, wait for these guys to get up and moving again. Be sure to keep following closely for any notifications of us going live again, and we will see you all a little bit later. Goodbye.
So I believe we are live, which means that we are busy looking around down in the Mulawati, because I just got tracks for a male leopard walking in this direction. It looks like maybe Husana's tracks from last night coming from Twin Dams, and we heard some of Franklin's alarm calling in here. I didn't get very far, but we just quickly checking to see. I can't find the Franklins anymore, and I can't hear them anymore. But the last track I had was just on top of the bank walking this direction. They were driven over from this morning, so I'm not sure how far he's ended up. But just with the Franklin's alarm calling and the tracks heading in this direction, I thought it would be a good place to quickly come and have a little look. No, nothing there. Just don't see any tracks coming down here. It's a great place for a leopard to sit though. It's very, very cool and nice and shady. There's some Franklins there. They looked unperturbed by life. Where, oh where are you? But I'm surprised that whoever drove that road missed those leopard tracks. I asked if anyone drove there, and everyone told me, the guys that did drive there, that there was no sign of leopard tracks, but they've clearly been driven over. So I don't know how they missed them, because they're quite clear in the middle of the road. But the alarm calls for the Franklin were much further north than where I am now. So I think what I'm going to do is just try to turn around somewhere. There should be a place to turn around in front. Look again. No sign here, unfortunately. I was hoping we'd come down into the Mulawati and there'd be a leopard lounging in the cool sand. But while we check around, let's go back to Steph, who I believe is now doing a spot of birding in the Mara.
And on our way to that lion, we found you this, a woolly-necked stork. And in this particular vantage point, we get to see 2 things which are quite uncommon. And the bronzy iridescence on the wing, on the middle of the wing, there you can just see it now with the sun behind us, just sticking out, is a rare thing to see on this woolly-necked stork, as well as the feces that it covers its legs with. There you can see that it's been a hot day, and that is dung on its legs. And I know you're going to be asking yourself, what is a bird doing defecating on its legs? When its bum's obviously far enough away, it doesn't need to do that. The easy answer is that this bird cools itself down that way. It pumps a lot of blood into the skin surrounding the leg bones, and then by defecating on the legs and letting the wind blow on those skinny legs, it cools the blood down considerably, and that way returns to the body cooler than it was, giving this bird the ability to stay cool when everything else around it is hot, albeit using its own dung. Well, quite nice to see. They're one of the smallest storks in this particular area. In actual fact, I think it is the smallest stork. And much like all storks, they actually don't have a voice box. So unlike a parrot or a sunbird or a canary or a budgerigar, which has voices that they use all the time, storks do not. And this particular stork is no exception. It doesn't have any voice box. What it does do is to attract mates. They do the most unbelievable dances and elaborate wing flaps and bows to each other, and there's a courtship amongst storks which is quite phenomenal. Another thing that is quite phenomenal is the lilac-breasted roller. This bird definitely has some voice box, but in addition to the voice box, it also has superb coloration. You can see they're just sticking out of the branches, watching us with a beady eye. Is that lilac-breasted roller, and flown away, and probably returning to the same, or close enough to the same branch. Just hawk or try to hawk an insect. This time of the year, their colors are not so bright, and they don't have the tail streamers, but they're giving us a beautiful afternoon shot. Take your screenshots. That is a lovely shot of a lilac-breasted roller at this time of the year. David framing it up so nicely. Remember that we are interactive. You can ask me questions while we are on Game Drive live, and I'll try and answer as many as what we can. These are hole nesting birds. They rely on barbets and woodpeckers to create nests for them that they quite actively defend, and will quite often in pairs defend against other rollers, other lilac-breasted rollers, and other birds as well, which would like to make use of their nests. That blue and purple color is really remarkable. Now we are almost at these lions. I can see one lion from where we're lying now. He's now that big male that we saw lying with the elephant just now is lying flat on the ground. There we go, in the center. You can see how flat a lion can get. That is a full-grown 500-pound male lion that is lying unconscious on his side, with some topi, waterbuck and zebra behind. And off to the right hand side is the reason why he's lying unconscious and in the sun. They've actually made a kill. We're just going to see, there we go, there's a zebra that is lying on its side, and I did see a lion lying next to it. Definitely there we go, there's the lion, or lioness I should say, not lion. The lioness has been eating, and we're going to see if we can go a little bit more forward and see if we can show you a better picture than these ones that I've been showing you so far this afternoon. We have got some elephant around us as well. It's actually been such a brilliant afternoon. Surrounding us has just been animals by the ton, and this elephant cow and her young calf have just been feeding with us as we've come down this drainage line. Now Tula Ann, who's as old as my son is, only 5 years old, has remarked that these animals all look like they're friends with one another, and and is it normal for this time of this year? So Tula Ann, what a fantastic question from a 5-year-old. And yes, all these animals are friendly with one another. Some of them eat grass, some of them eat trees, some of them eat each other, some of them eat wildebeest and zebra and so on and so forth. But they all get along with one another quite nicely, to be quite honest with you. There's no big animosity, which is a big word to say, that they don't dislike each other at all. They're just in a healthy sort of equilibrium, is what I'd like to use, is that there's a balance between all the things that like to eat other animals and all the things that like to eat the grass. There's a nice balance. That youngster busy eating the grass over there, flanked by mom, which has got a beautiful set of tusks. I love the elephant in the Mara here in Kenya. The females in particular have got the most elegant ivory. Almost always the same length, the same shape. and quite long for female elephants as well. Isn't that a fantastic shot of the trees there in the background? That is lovely. Now Chantel tells me that a few of you are commenting on the fact that it's so exciting to see all these animals here. I must agree with you. I think it is quite exciting to see all these animals here. And I think it's going to be exciting to see what happens at this lion kill today. When we saw the Angamas, they were heading in this direction, but into a thicket. And I think if we are lucky, they are going to come and join their sister on this kill. In the distance and arriving towards us is the cars that join this fantastic reserve with us. Of course, it's an open reserve, very much like the Kruger National Park is, where we do some of our other drives as well, albeit this is a public area where you can come and drive yourself in or be driven around in some cars, and just adds nicely, everyone helping one another to find their things. Thank you to everyone who's saying that it's nice to see me in the driving seat again. I must say I do miss it from time to time. And it's going to be nice to join you for a couple of drives over the next few days or so before Brent and Jamie get back, in between when James has left. He's on his way back to South Africa for a much deserved break. You wanted to know what surprised me the most about the Mara. That's actually a very good question, Deborah, because it changes from week to week and from month to month. I think when I got here, the unbelievable space was what got me initially, was the fact that you could see so far and you could drive so far and you'd still be in a game reserve. Then it was the fact that the reserve is open and that the borders there are no physical borders, so domestic animals can enter the reserve and wild animals can leave the reserve, and how often they do it, but also what type of harmony they've got. Quite often we have zebra and buffalo and hippo. We've even had a leopard prowling around our camp for the last couple of nights, and everything just seems sort of calm. There's no tension. Coming a bit closer now to this male lion. Let's see if I can get into a nice spot where we can at least see the back of its head. There's he lying down over there. I have no doubt that he's already partaken in this zebra kill, and you can see that fat belly at the back there. Another thing that's been quite surprising, Deborah, is the fact that it's a calm temperature here all year round. I've gone from summer to winter without a noticeable change in temperature whatsoever, and it's very comfortable. You don't ever get too hot and you don't ever get too cold. And I must say that I can't say the same for our friend Tristan, who's sitting down south, 3,500 miles, where we definitely do have winter and summer, and where we are transitioning from the cold of winter to one of the hottest months of the year, and that is October. And I'm sure that Tristan has got some news to tell you about how uncomfortable he's feeling at the moment.
Well, Steph, now I'm starting to feel comfortable. It was about 2 o'clock this afternoon. It wasn't so pleasant. It was rather warm at that stage, but now it's actually very pleasant. It is perfect weather now for a safari. It's just cooled down a little bit, and there's a bit of a breeze, and so I'm actually enjoying this afternoon bumbling around. Fortunately, no further sign of that leopard track. I just want to come up to Buffelshoek Dam and check around first while it's still a bit warm, and see if the Ellies aren't there, and then I'll go back to that area. I have a funny feeling, if it is Hosanna, that he may have looped and gone back down towards Twin Dams, and he's maybe lying somewhere close to the water there. Given how warm it is, I don't think he's going to have gone too far from the dam itself, so maybe just lying somewhere in those Mulawati Bank thickets, and we'll catch him later when it gets a bit cooler walking around. So worth just coming and checking up the side. It's difficult this afternoon because, well, it's just me all on my own, and by the sounds of things there's one other vehicle out, which is from Buffelshoek, and they're right in the northeast corner. There's nobody from Djuma, no one from Cheetah Plains, so it's, well, a lonely world out here at the moment, Seb.
Yeah,
At least I have you for company, Seb, and all of you on the back of the vehicle, which means that hopefully we'll find something. It's just that it's always when there's not as many vehicles, it's harder because you don't have a situation where people are spreading out and they can help you with looking in certain sections. You've got to kind of loop around and do all of it on your own. So it makes it just a little bit tougher in terms of actually finding things. Faisal, you saying, come on, you know, I can find a spotted leopard. Well, that's the idea, Faisal. I think we can. We just got to give it the right timing and the right place. It doesn't feel leopardy yet. I don't have the leopard feeling just yet. I think it's going to come a little bit later. That's what I feel, is that once it cools down, that sun is just above the horizon and we've got that golden light across the landscape, that's when we're going to find a leopard stepping out, and it's going to be ever so beautiful. That's what I think anyway. I'm hoping that's what's going to happen. But if not the leopard, maybe the cheetah. So one of the two spots will find its way to us at some point this afternoon. We've just got to be patient, and we've got to be, like I say, positive and patient. The P's today on a Sunday. Monique, you're wondering when I did my tracking training. Well, when I first started to become a guide, when I was at Singita, we did a lot of tracking work there and got shown how to identify tracks and how to read tracks and look at them. And then from there, it's just been an ongoing lesson, basically. From all the trackers I've worked with, every single one of them has imparted some sort of knowledge on me. And it's a kind of thing that the more you do it, the better you get at it. You've just got to keep going, and you've got to keep looking and keep working at it, and you'll be able to. If you ask people like Steph and Scott and James and Brent and Jamie, they'll tell you that the less that they track, the more rusty they get and the harder it becomes. The more that you track and the more you get in sync with the animals that you're looking for in a certain area, the easier it actually becomes, because a lot of tracking is actually not physically seeing what's on the ground. Oh no, don't run away. This is going to be so cool. Stay there, stay there, stay there. So there's two little button quails in front of us, and these guys are so difficult to get on camera. There they are. See how little they are? Oh, out in the open. That's about as good a view as we've ever had of a button quail, or certainly that I've ever had of a button quail. And then into the long grass they've gone, and you see how quickly they disappear. They've got the most perfect camouflage to just melt into that grass. Well, that was cool. So it wasn't a spot, but a little bit of a flicked little bird. That was really cool. I've been trying to get them on camera for months, and they are so elusive, and they tend to be very shy. So as soon as you come along, they bolt off into the grass. So to have at least gotten them crossing the road was very special. Well done, Seb. It's all about the cameraman, exactly. That's exactly right. I'm under no illusion, don't worry. So, but back to the tracking, is it's basically a constant school that you're going to. But in terms of the actual training, as into what to look for, how to identify, that was all in my right in the beginning when I first started doing my training to be a guide. Spent a lot of time at Lubombo, which is a part of the Kruger National Park on the eastern side, where there is a lot of rocks and tracking is very difficult. So I did a lot of training there and some assessments. And back then I was still very sort of a very big novice, and I didn't actually kind of grasp it that well, but it took a bit of time with some experienced trackers, and then I started to come right from there. And now I wouldn't say I'm good, I'm proficient, but I wouldn't say I'm good at it. There's many trackers out there that are insanely good and way beyond the scope of what I can do, but I at least am able to see and find tracks from time to time. Now there's a beautiful bird, talking about finding things. Seb, you see it in the tall tree on the right side of the tree is a black-headed oriole. So the top there on that side. It just went down, yes. Yeah, the same tree. Let's try go around, maybe we'll find it. It's just such a beautiful bird that it's worth trying to see if we can find it. Beautiful, beautiful yellow with this black head and this beautiful beak. Where are you? No, I've lost it. It's gone. But interestingly enough, we can look at the tree anyway, because it's quite a cool example of something. So you'll notice that there is a leadwood that is grown there. The base of that tree is a leadwood, but if we go up, you notice there's some roots that are actually growing down. So there's a strangler fig that is growing over the leadwood, and this is how strangler figs work. Is basically what happens is they produce a fruit, something like a barbet or a go-away bird will come and feed off it, and then they come and the sticky seeds are on their beak, and they then wipe it on something like a leadwood, and that then starts to grow, and these aerial roots start to grow down all the way along the trunk of the leadwood, and they use it as a support structure, and over time more and more and more roots grow, and eventually they'll encompass that whole leadwood, go right beyond the leadwood's crown, and they'll actually suffocate the tree out or strangle it and stop it from getting sunshine and nutrients, and they will then take over, and it uses it basically as a host. So that is a predatory tree, if you want to call it, and it's not one that we see that often. We don't get too many figs here, unfortunately, not enough water, but that's a nice example of a strangler fig overtaking a really large old leadwood. Very cool to see. Nice. So we might not have seen our oriole, but at least we got to see a strangler fig. It's actually the first time I've noticed that strangler fig, funnily enough. It's something you see a lot of down on the big rivers, so the Sand River, the Sabi River, lots of big figs down there. But here, it doesn't seem as though we get nearly as many because of the lack of water that we have in this particular section. Snazzy, you say some of those branches look like snakes. Seb, what's this little bird on top here? Right. This, there. Okay, hold on. It's going to land there. There seems to be a few of them. I'll try to just look through the binoculars as well. They're a little bit far off now and a bit silhouetted. They look like some of those female village weavers again that are moving around. Difficult to say though, they're right on the edge of that bush willow. It's not very pleasant. Let me try to get a bit closer so we're going to struggle from this distance to ID them. They're not very big birds at all. There's also a woodpecker that's just flying. Let's see if we can try and get that on camera, because that's going to be a bit easier. Birds are giving us a bit of a challenge today. So this knobthorn here, there might be a woodpecker sticking out somewhere. Oh, Beard, you say the button quail was number 83 for you. Well, I'm glad. That's a really good number, and we must push hard to get you to 100. Oh, Beard. Ooh, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be silhouetted, but it's at the top of that back knobthorn there. You see it bouncing around. But unfortunately, it's going to be very silhouetted. I'm not sure which woodpecker it is, because it's right against the sun. I can't get color. It looks very small, so it looks like it's possibly a cardinal woodpecker. Let's see. That's okay. That's okay, Seb. It's more than good enough. You can see the black bar that goes through the eye stripe, which I'm thinking, I just want to make 100% sure. It looks a bit small for the bearded though. It doesn't look like a bearded woodpecker to me. It could be though. But doing a bit of birding is actually quite fun. It's been such a long time that I've done it, and I always love doing birding, so it's something that I should really do a lot more of. I get a bit sidetracked, like I say, sometimes with the lions and leopards. So it is a bearded woodpecker. It's just a fairly small one, and it's a female bearded woodpecker because it's got that black bar through the eye. Well, that's a nice one to find. There's quite a few of them around at the moment. You hear them quite often in the mornings when you drive along these riverbed systems. Lots of them bouncing around these dead trees, looking for any wood boring insects that potentially are in the dead trees themselves. Right, well, we're approaching Buffelshoek Dam now. There's no sign of our elephants crossing anywhere this section here, so unless they went northwards and didn't come towards the dam, they might still actually have been there, or they're on their way there. It would be quite nice if we get there and they're all lined up at the water, but they haven't gone further west, which is good. So let's go back to Steph in the meantime with, I think he's still with his lion.
Now, can you believe it? We were showing you that that woolly neck stork and the elephant. There was also a mating pair of lion lying just on the other side of us that we didn't see at all. It took us to drive past and sit and turn around to see these lions, who were not even 50 yards or 50 paces from where we were. I actually think that this is the lion that we saw just now. It's in the same line, and there's some elephant, and this female, she's quite restless with her attending male. Her body at the moment is in estrus, which means that she's having hormonal spikes every time she ovulates, and these go through some dips and troughs. Let's see, this should elicit this male to stand up. Oh, she's beautiful. Where are you going, girl? Let's see if he wakes up. There we go. So now that is very typical of a male lion attending a female. He doesn't let her out of his sight at all. And the reason for that is that she'll ovulate a few times in all of this. And this male who's attending her at the moment wants to make sure that every time she ovulates, he is right there to try and inseminate every egg that comes down into that fallopian tube, so all the babies are his. Now Carlos, who's a new viewer, I just want to say welcome to you. So hello Carlos, and welcome to the show. And you said that you've been wanting to see lion, and I'm very happy that we could show you lion right off the bat today. That's quite nice. Now they have gone super flat again. Well, that isn't uncommon for mating lions, and you shouldn't despair, because we should be able to see them mating again in a few seconds to a few minutes. Now, as the female's body comes into, or as it ovulates and her hormones spike as the eggs are traveling down the fallopian. Look what we've got there. So just as we predicted, the Angamas have come through the thicket we thought they were going to come through. Excuse all the poles, go right. Right. No. And let me see if I can turn the car over. So it looks like we've got the Angama pride that has come out of the bushes and are making their way through to the zebra kill, which I think is pretty epic. We've got quite a nice story that we can see from here, actually. So I just want to get into a nice spot that gives David all the freedom that he needs to do what he needs to do. So what we've got is we've got a, let me just see if I can see them. It looks like we do. So we've got zebra and eland. I'm sure I saw a bunch of lion. Could it have been my imagination? Absolutely. And it's being confirmed at the moment by Richard, who is our game scout and protector on the back of our vehicle. And what he's doing is he can also see them. So why don't I tell you the rest of the story while we're waiting for these lions to come out of the thicket. They should be out here in a second. We've got a male lion that's lying directly in front of the car. And sorry Dave, I'm making you jump around. Please excuse everybody that we are jumping around. There's a male lion there. And while a male lion in the sun on his own isn't an uncommon sight, it's not very common. And we initially thought it was because he was lying close to the kill, which is a common, and there's a female that is lying on that kill, and it's also again not uncommon for female and male coalitions that are mating with one another to make a kill every now and again, although it's not there we go in the center of the screen, although it's not their primary concern hunting. But it would have explained the fact that there was a female lying on a dead zebra plus a male close by. But then we've got the added complication, if you want to call it that, of another mating pair right next to us at the moment, probably from the same coalition of lions. They're lying flat in the grass here at the moment. Can hardly even see that there are lions there. There we go. That proves that there's a lion there. And you probably find that these are two males in a coalition with one another. They are both attending females which are ovulating, which is not uncommon in a pride of lion, especially in an area that's just had the superabundance of food at the moment. But now which lions from which pride, that is the question. Now if the Angamas are moving towards this area to come and join in the feast on the zebra, then it absolutely is that they are the Angamas. But if they're not, then they're from an adjacent pride of lion. Now, unlike in the Kruger National Park, where it's almost like a physical barrier between lion prides. You feel like you go into this no man's land. Here, there is no boundary between lion prides. In actual fact, rather than home ranges touching one another, which is what it quite often is in the Kruger, you've got home ranges that overlap and core territories which brush up amongst one another. And I actually think that the lions are in a much bigger, how do I say, they're in competition with each other here a lot more than what they would be in the Kruger for space. Let's go backwards a little bit and see if we can get a bit more height. Now James, you've asked an interesting question. Would the fluidity of the lion prides become less so once the migratory herds have moved on? No James, I don't think so, to be quite honest. I actually think that these prides, there's so much food around here, James. Even outside of the migration, there's a lot of food available here. More than what there is, at least in my opinion, in the Kruger National Park. And I think that that has a market effect on how these lions behave. I think, wow, there is a huge smell of something dead here. I didn't notice it on the way in here. Whew, it is overpowering. Sorry, Dave. Might also be some lion dung that we've managed to drive through, which is a very big possibility with us driving around in this grass. So James, no, I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think that the superabundance of food here has led to the fact that there's a large number of cats spread over a very wide area. And I think that because they don't have the space, I think rather than home ranges touching one another and cats left pretty much to just roar and fend the boundaries almost non-aggressively or non-lethally at anyway, I think that these lions are packed in so tight that their core territories overlap. I think lions have a lot of trouble defending their boundaries here, which is why the male lions always look like they've got their faces having been stuck in a meat grinder. And I also think that that is the reason why lion pride numbers here fluctuate so much, and that a female that's got 6 babies that gets caught by another pride of lion will very easily die. They'll kill her because of the core territories that overlap here. And of course, as soon as she goes down, if there's no other lactating mother lion around, those cubs will die. And I think the cubs' numbers fluctuate. Then throw in the added complexity of 2.5 million wildebeest that arrive and then 4 months later leave again. It's not like they leave with everything. Believe me that even when there's no wildebeest here, there is still a massive amount of animals here. And I think that there's more than enough food to keep all these lions very healthy. In the tree is this lilac-breasted roller that we were watching a little bit earlier, and this bird is taking advantage of this elephant being so close. What it's hoping is that the elephant chases up a tasty grasshopper, which it will then snatch up as it flies out of the grass. Of course, these birds would battle to actually catch the grasshopper once it's gone into the grass, and so being so close to this elephant works in this bird's favor, although I think that was a little bit too close for comfort. Oh, this is a beautiful female elephant. That pattern on her head there that David's zooming into there now for you is just dried mud. It's not her skin. However, that secretion from behind her eye is from her skin. That's a sebaceous gland. And it's just weeping a little bit, and as it dried up in the sun, it's left that white residue there. And the reason for that is a little bit of stress. It could also be an indication of a hormonal change that she's going through at the moment, and it just causes that gland to leak. It's nothing to worry yourselves about or anything like that. This elephant's still 100% perfectly normal. That woolly-necked stork in the background. Nice, we can while our way with the elephant while we're waiting for lion to mate. While we're waiting for those lion to mate with each other again. OD Farming has asked what the social structure or family structure of elephants are. OD Farmer, let's see this little baby. I think he's going to chase this stalk. OD Farmer, that's actually quite a nice question, because very similar to hyena, elephant societies are matriarchal. In other words, the herd that we're with at the moment will be head up by a cow, a female elephant, not a bull elephant. Bull elephants born into a herd will, between 12 and about 18 years of age, separate themselves for longer and longer periods from their family, to a point where they're actually not associated with their natal herd anymore. Will wander around until they are about 35, and then at 35 years of age, they will go into a period where their bodies actually change, and they go into a state called must, where they actively search out females that are ovulating, and will combat with other males for the right to ovulating females. Let's go backwards a little bit, just so that, for one, I can get out of the smell that we are sitting in at the moment. It is coating the back of my throat like you have no idea. Whew. Sorry, Dave. Wowza. Now, Philip, you want to know if the calves can be aged. I'm just going to finish my question with OD Farmer quickly. Females, and I'll get to that, because Philip, your question does make sense in context to OD Farmer's question about the dynamics of a family group. Now, although males will then at 35 plus fight for females and be associated to females and all that, the females will stay in a herd their entire life. So they'll be born in a herd and will basically live in a herd their entire lives. When a herd gets bigger than 12 to 16 individuals, it can split off, where two sisters will split off with their calves, and you can get two satellite herds forming that can actually join up again in drier times around common food sources. And congregations of 100 plus 100 plus elephant are quite common in areas where food sources can draw elephant in from hundreds of miles all around them. And these particular elephant will all be related to one another. And now for Philip's question. Philip, you wanted to know if elephants can be aged. They absolutely can. You've got to take them in relation to their moms. So a small calf with a small mom will be smaller than a large calf with a large mom. And although that sounds pretty reasonable, logical, it can actually complicate things. Another thing is to have a look at the teeth. So this youngster here, you'll see, has some teeth erupting out of the jaw, just started to erupt out of the jaw. And when they do that, when you can see that, that elephant is just over a year old. The elephant on the right-hand side, the youngster on the right-hand side, same profile, only you can't see any teeth coming out there. And that elephant is less than a year. So elephant they get milk tusks, and at about 6 months you can sometimes see those little milk tusks, sharp, frail little tusks. They will fall out at about 6 months, and then the more robust tusks erupt at about a year. So that gives you an idea of elephant up to about a year. From a year to 5 years, all elephants look pretty small, and then they start to get bigger than their moms I'm talking about unable to fit under their mom's tummies is actually what I wanted to say, from about 3 years to about 7 years. And then from 7 years on, for male elephant and female elephant, their size changes dramatically. And from about 9 years to 12 years, female elephant are just smaller than their moms, male elephants are just bigger than their moms, and of course onward from there as they get to adolescence, and then eventually into adulthood around their late teens, early 20s. Now, while we wait for these lions to mate, and we'll call you back as soon as they do, why don't you go all the way south to the Kruger National Park and Tristan, who's got something to show you in the sand.
So as we thought, which is super exciting, the cheetah have come onto cheetah cut line. So we've got their tracks going down the road, and you can see I've circled one for you. It is much longer than what you would see on a leopard track. Earlier when we were looking at the leopard tracks, they're very small, very round, but you can see the length of this track is very long, with toes that point up and then little claw marks in the front. And there's all 4 of them have walked here, so it's the female with the 3 cubs that have come out, and it really is exciting to see. The problem is we're only about 200 meters south of the boundary and they're heading northward, so they're going straight up the road like this, and I'm going to try my very best to check. I'm hoping that they've turned west along the fire break or even the boundary and headed towards Buffelshoek Dam. We did check Buffelshoek Dam, no sign of anything there, but you never know, they might have been lying somewhere close there and I just didn't see them. But this is an exciting sign. It's not something we see every day. But what I wanted to point out with these tracks is that you can still see the 3 lobes on the back. They're just really small in comparison to the leopard track. So here you've got 1, 2, 3, and then it comes up, and then you've got these toes. There's the side toe, the 2 front toes, and the other side toe. With the leopard track, we would have found that the toes would have been far more pushed up on the sides, and they would have been fairly sort of in line with one another, with a much wider back pad than what we see here. It really is very cool to see these tracks, and this is not tracks we see very often at all, so I'm super excited. Hopefully we get lucky, but they must have come out just after we've been here, because they're on top of all of the vehicle tracks. I don't find any bird tracks on top of them, which means hopefully they've moved here fairly recently and we'll be able to find them. So without further ado, let's try and see if we can find these guys. It would be so cool if we can see these 4 cheetah. Some part of me has got this optimism that they're not far off. The other part of me thinks that they've already gone over, which is a little disappointing, but let's rather stay positive and just see. Maybe we get really lucky and they're sitting somewhere on a termite mound here, or just resting in the shade somewhere. No, the tracks are still kind of going, and they're zigzagging a lot, so they go onto the fire break, then they come back, and then fire break and come back. So I just want to check. Although they're on the left side now soon. So I thought I saw something's ears poking out of the grass. Of course, now when there's the possibility of seeing these guys, you'll find cheetah looking things all over the place. So you're going to spot logs and stumps and varying other things that look cheetah like. Now this is where I want to check, because here is where they potentially could have gone. So I'm just going to jump out the vehicle for 2 seconds to make 100% sure where the tracks go, because I don't see any sign of them anymore on the road. I think they might have gone back into Torchwood, unfortunately. We just want to quickly check on the road here. There's a nice soft road, so we'll see very quickly if they came this side. But I don't find any tracks for them. No. What's this? So there's just the tracks for the lions from the other day that have been walking here. Actually, they looks like they have come down, which is good news. So it looks like they've turned and gone further down. They just cut off quite early and are moving in a westerly direction down the fire break, which is fantastic news, because that means that they still hopefully are within Djuma. Let's see, so maybe they've gone to Buffelshoek Dam and we just drove past them and missed them. It is possible. Yeah, we were looking for elephants and we weren't really paying too much attention. But there's definitely no tracks that are going north, so that's a good sign so far. Just want to make 100% sure, but it looks like there's a set of tracks moving straight down in front of me. The fire break would be a good place for cheetah to lie. It's nice and open, they can see anything that's coming their way, so it wouldn't surprise me if they are in this area. Lots of snake tracks as well, funny enough. I've seen 3 different snake tracks already on this fire break. Burbab, you were wondering if the snakes are out already in the Sabi sands. No, not just yet. It is starting to warm up nicely for them and we should start to see them coming out, but nothing that we've seen just yet. Lots of tracks starting to emerge the last 3-4 days as the spike in temperature has happened, but without the rains there's not that many sort of rodents around, and you'll find that they will eventually start getting active in the next couple of weeks, but not too much just yet. Right. Oh, so I believe we've got a spider web on the lens. I'll try to just get rid of that, so apologize about my hand being in the way. There's the lion tracks on there as well. I hope these guys didn't turn and go back to Torchwood. No, nothing here. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure we're going to find them. I want to just check around very carefully and do the Buffels hook boundary as well, just in case they just cut straight over the fire break and went in from there. There's nothing that's on the road in front that I can see. I'm just trying to scan all of the termite mounds and grassy areas. At the end of the day, these particular cheetah are a little bit on the shy side, so theoretically the noise of our vehicles should prompt them to sit up at least, and that would mean that we'd be able to spot them from quite far. Theoretically, it's not obviously always the case, but theoretically that would be what would happen. I don't see any further tracks to speak of. Let's check at this junction here. Okay, so I don't see any further signs coming down this way, which is where we drove this morning. There's just tracks for ellies. I'm going to go back to the large tracks and see where they go, and while I do that, let's go across to Steph with his elephant and lions and see what's happening.
We're still here with these ellies, and the lions haven't even moved a hair. And one of the guides that passed us about 2 minutes ago said that these lions are coming to the end of their mating spree now, and that means that we could be waiting here anywhere up to 30 or 40 minutes between mating sessions. But you know, don't fear, it's not a bad place to be and to wait out 2 lions mating with these ellies that we've got here. Now we've got the 2 ellies and 2 moms with their 2 youngsters still around us. They're wanting to cross this particular drainage line here, and I think we're going to see this youngster hopefully cross out, because the one mom is inside the drainage line. You can see this one of their baby who's already crossed over, and she's busy eating sort of succulent grass that's growing on the edge of this depression, or this drainage line, as they how full these things get in the summertime. They must get pretty full. I mean, this is the terminal end of a drainage line that starts in the mountains, and when it rains, the runoff here is incredible, because there's on the mountains itself, the soil profile is only about 6 foot to 7 foot deep, and once that gets saturated, the water will be running out over the surface and through the sand, and will come out in these places. Now, I've got a feeling that it's not uncommon to see the water right up these banks, right level. It's going to be really nice to see what this looks like in wet years to come, and see, well, we probably won't be able to see it here. These roads would become impossible to drive, but I think it's going to be interesting to see exactly how deep all these drainage lines get. Look where this elephant was standing now. It would be basically underwater. You can see there where the grass is dead. I don't know if that's from flood damage or whether it's from sunshine. Now, Caitlin, you wanted to know why elephants have wrists, and you're only 6 years old. Where are you getting this information from, that elephants have wrists? Because you're not wrong at all. Well, elephants absolutely have wrists, but they only have wrists on their front legs, and it's because they have a foot that looks basically like this: 5 toes on the front and 4 toes on the back, and around that is a pad, and these bones that stick into this pad join at a flexible joint, and we're going to see, there we go, you're looking at that right now, and you'll see when this elephant moves, you'll be able to see those wrists There you go. And the wrist obviously flows up to the elbow. And if you go up a little bit, you can even see an elbow skin there on that elephant. Isn't that just amazing? So I want you to put your hand down on the floor, if you can. Put your hand down on the floor, like this. Lift your fingers, and like this. And imagine that there was this fatty piece of tissue all the way around here. And then turn your elbow this way. So without turning this part of turn your elbow like this, and there you have an elephant's foot. That is an elephant's foot. Isn't that incredible? That we share very similar characteristics with something that doesn't even look even close to what we are. And that's this elephant on the side. Isn't that beautiful?